Hello everyone, welcome back to the Homegrown podcast. We're on episode 10 now, and today we're joined by Frances Mistry, who is an upcoming musician who's been releasing music since 2019, I think?
2017.
2017, okay, yeah. There we go. And she's been featured on BBC Radio Introducing, I believe it was, a couple of times actually, wasn't it? And then... and her new single, it's called I Could Listen to You All Day, is coming out on February the 26th. I hope I got that right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool. And there we go. I'm just going to sort of just...
Sure. Yeah. Did you want to do the first question, or do you want me to, Jack? It's up to you.
You can start off, I think.
Sure. So I just wanted to know a bit about sort of your kind of early musician life. What was the sort of the first instrument that you picked up and started to learn?
Yeah. So I when I was 6 or 7, I had piano lessons, but I stopped them because they were at the school that I was at, and then I left the school, so I didn't do them after that. And then I got a few more lessons later on, but they just weren't for me. I'd rather just learn piano without having to stick to some kind of formula. I was just playing what I wanted to play instead. So that was my first instrument that I played. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And I can see a guitar in your background. Is that sort of your primary instrument?
Right now, yeah. I mainly play guitar. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Very similar experience with the piano to myself, whereas I don't actually want to do all the scales and the classical stuff.
Yeah.
Just play what I want.
Yeah, it's nice just experimenting with the piano. It's just fun.
Yeah, I mean, we had a whole bit in a podcast. I think we've cut it out where we just ranted for about half hour about music education.
Yeah,
and that was one of my stickles, was about piano teaching, because it's just no one wants to learn Beethoven.
Yeah.
Speaking of Beethoven, though, you did do a song about You Can't Dance to Beethoven, I think it was called. And I noticed about that song, and sort of just in your music in general, it's quite musically. You have a lot of space in your music. There's a lot of reverb going on.
Yeah.
And I also noticed there's lots of uses of major sevenths and stuff, and quite a sort of a dreamy style. This was one of Oscar's questions. I'm going to nick it because it fits in. Is what kind of style would you consider yourself as, or the kind of music that you are looking to create?
I'm kind of trying to experiment with indie pop. That's kind of the way that it usually gravitates towards when I start writing. I also experiment with bedroom pop because that's kind of the music that I listen to a lot as well. I started writing because I was listening to Clairo all the time, and hers is bedroom pop, and I was like, oh, that's cool, I like that. So I also try with that. Yeah.
Cool.
And speaking of Clairo, was it Clairo that kind of inspired you to be doing what you're doing, or was there other influences?
I'd say so. Before, I started playing guitar because of Declan McKenna, but I wasn't writing at that point. And then I found Clairo, and she was releasing small things on SoundCloud and everything. I was like, oh, well, I can do that too. I was so I just decided to start writing from then, and well, that's where it's got me.
Yeah. No, because you can hear that sort of that, you were saying, that dream pop influence. I was just wondering whether that was a big part in you becoming a musician.
Definitely. Definitely it was.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, just sort of building off that, when you sit down to write something, and this is something I ask every musician really, when you sit down and write something, how do you go about it? Because it's very different for everyone, I think. And
it is. I usually just grab my guitar and I either tune it in a different way so I can just come up with something weird because I don't know what I'm playing at that point. It's just chords that sound nice. But I usually just mess around on the guitar until I find nice chords that go together. And then I hum a tune and just sing some random words and then until they fit together. And then that's how it goes. Yeah.
Cool. That's quite different from...
Yeah.
Gone.
I was just going to say, lyrically, then, what's kind of your process with that?
I guess it's all subconscious. I just say words and then they just end up being a topic. And like, so like the first few words, I'll be like, okay, I guess it's gonna gravitate around that topic this time. And then I'll just add on to it at that point. Yeah.
Sure. So you kind of start with a theme and build off of that one sentence or phrase. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Quite a different way of other people doing it. Actually, that's a cool way. Yeah, I mean, you started in 2017, and it was last year. I think last year when you ended up on the radio.
Yeah.
What was sort of talk us through that? Like how did that happen? Basically,
yeah. So I mean, I've been uploading all my songs since 2017, but I did one song with my mum's friend called Martin Barker, and so I went to his studio, and like I did my song Dreaming with him, and I uploaded that one, and then it got picked up a few weeks later. I wasn't expecting it at all because I hadn't had it before. So I just got the email saying, "Oh, we're going to play your song on the radio." I was like, "Oh my god, really?"
Wow.
Nice.
That must have been a surreal feeling, you know, to have someone say, "We're going to take your song and play it on the radio."
Yeah, because like they send you a notification about like saying, "Oh, we've listened to your song," and then I was like, "Oh, okay." And then like 2 or 3 weeks passed since I got that, and then it was like, "We're playing your song." I was like, "Oh, I didn't expect that." That's like, yeah.
Cool.
Crazy, yeah.
And then they wanted more, I think, wasn't it? The last one that was on there. I mean, I sat on Thursday, I think it was, and just listened to everything you had on Spotify.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you've got some really good stuff, and it was, I think, was it they want? Yeah, it was. They wanted more. There was a moment sort of towards the end, sort of in the last minute or so.
Yeah.
Don't know if you can hear that. And it was it got like quite a heavy guitar, sort of got quite loud.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of stuck out to me as something that felt quite different from the rest of your stuff.
Yeah, like with that song, because I go to BIM in Brighton right now, and so with that one, it was our performance class, and we had to like each week someone writes a song to perform with the band. Well, when we could go in. So with that one, I had written that song, and then like with the band, we just built it up to like that massive sort of dramatic song. Like it just started out as a small guitar, like acoustic song, and it's just became that thing, which I really cool. Like. It was one of my favourites, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, it stood out to me because, as I say, a lot of your stuff's got quite reverby, quite dreamy sort of aesthetic to it, and then that came out of nowhere, and it was one of the last ones I heard. I was like, oh, that's
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is cool. So you workshopped it basically.
Yeah.
You took it in and workshopped it. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see yourself kind of going more into that kind of heavier, slightly louder kind of genre?
Yeah, I do like the sounds of like distorted guitars and all that kind of like loudness, but also keeping that sort of reverby, slow, calm sound at the same time. I like the massive changes. That's a place that I want to try and get to. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of shoegazy in a way, a little bit there, kind of with the big reverb. Yeah. But not any sort of metal or anything like that.
No, not like that, I don't think.
No, fair enough.
Oscar, you had a couple more questions. I've run out of ones.
Yeah. Hang on. Oh yeah, here we go. So, if someone approached you and they were, say, like quite a young musician, they wanted to be doing what you're doing, they wanted to release music, what sort of advice or tips would you give that person?
I'd say just keep going. Like, even if it takes years, you will still get somewhere in the end. Like, I'm still going. It's been 3 years. There have been like times where it's been really slow and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. And then there's times where like my favorite artists have like noticed me or something, or like just seen my music, and that's just like, that just makes it worth it. And so just keep going, keep writing, learn to produce. That's a good one. Like, produce your own things, and just I look up a
Nice.
lot of YouTube videos as well to figure out how to do
Like,
everything.
yeah, like tutorials and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good place to start.
Definitely.
Yeah, you mentioned, actually, I did read somewhere that didn't Clairo play one of your songs on
Yeah,
her
she
radio?
did. That was quite a shock. She, like, I just sent it into her email that she had, like, it was an email to send demos to and everything. So I sent one in, didn't think she would actually take up on it or whatever. It's just,
Happened.
And so that's also like goes to show that was probably out of quite a few other, you know, what's the word?
Yeah.
And
Probably
yeah,
like thousands.
yeah,
I
because
just never thought I'd have a chance.
she's quite a big artist as well.
Yeah,
But you know,
she's blown up so much.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no, that's really good actually.
Yeah.
That she chose your demo to play. So what are your, obviously right now things are a bit stunted in terms of, you know, we can't go to gigs, we can't do gigs.
Yeah.
What are your plans for when things get back to normal?
Yeah, well, I definitely hope to start doing some shows. I still haven't had a chance to do any, like, since the 3 years, like, but I was hoping to this year, I mean 2020, but obviously that can happen. So, I mean, this year, at some point, hopefully, I can start doing some shows because I really want to do that.
Yeah.
I had a thing about going forward. You've released a lot of singles. Are there plans of doing like an EP or an album further down the line at some point?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. It's just, I think at the moment it's better to do singles because you get, like, it's just a constant thing, so people are always there. Whereas, like, with an EP, it's just released all at once, and so, like, then you have to do a break, kind of. Whereas if you keep people entertained for like a monthly release or whatever, people, like, I just feel like it's kind of like a schedule kind of thing, I guess. But hopefully, maybe an EP like next year or something when I've gained a bit more traction, I guess. Yeah,
Sure,
that's fair.
Sure. I think it's a good strategy, to be fair, the releasing singles, especially on Spotify, because it is so much kind of dependent on, you know, keeping that following, isn't it? And yeah, I think a lot of people are finding that when they release a bigger album or something, then they'll get quite a few listens, quite a few streams, but then, you know, having the consistency to produce more. But yeah, no, it's a good strategy for sure.
There we go.
I've just been thinking, because I keep looking at that guitar, because I'm quite me and Jack on the podcast, we like to talk about gear a lot. It's probably not so good that we focus on that so much, but do you have like an all-time favorite instrument to yourself? Like, do you have a personal instrument that you love?
Well, I'm not sure. I quite like the theremin, you know, that weird like thing where you use your hands to make music. That's really cool. It makes such a cool noise, but apparently it's really hard to play and also expensive, so I don't think I'll ever be able to.
Big no.
That's the dream, is it? The dream is to own and play a theremin.
Yeah.
You should become a theremin soloist. Just only that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. We
go
should
ahead,
probably.
Jack.
No, I can't remember.
Oh,
never mind.
It's gone. I was actually going to ask, because we were talking about future gigs. So you're saying you haven't done like a proper show yet?
No, I've only done like the open mic night, like when it was on at the pub. That's the only one I've ever done.
Right.
But I haven't done anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
That's similar to us, actually. Then. Well, similar to me.
Yeah.
Oscar's played shows.
Yeah.
Not very well. I think it's more of an achievement, really, to kind of get your stuff out there, and especially when it's writing your own stuff and releasing it.
Yeah.
And also the fact that it's you know, played on the radio and stuff. But do you have kind of like a dream show that you would love to play one day, or is there a venue that you really want to play?
I'd say I'd like to play like Concord 2 in Brighton, as I've been there loads for shows, as that's like my closest one, I guess. That's one that I'd love to play. Yeah, it's not too big either, so it's just
sure.
Yeah.
Good start to kind of ease in. Yeah. Yeah,
It's good to aim low and then
Yeah.
keep going as you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Oscar, I cut you off.
No. I was just going to say, could you see yourself, performing in those bigger venues, or do you think you'd kind of like to stay more kind of small, local, kind of
I
intimate
mean, like,
venues?
yeah, that's what I'd like to do, because that's what I've grown up over the last few years, going to like those small kind of gigs with small bands. Like, that's what I like. I mean, I'm not too optimistic about getting like massive or anything, so my goal is just to play those small venues. So yeah.
It's always good to be, hopeful, and you never know.
Yeah.
No.
I think some people that you hear about it, like really successful bands, just prefer the atmosphere and like the kind of feeling closer to the audience in a way.
Small acoustic gigs.
Small acoustic stuff. Yeah. I was going to ask, growing up, what sort of music were you listening to?
I think there was a lot of the time, like in 2009, I guess, I was listening to a lot of Michael Jackson. I had like a Michael Jackson Wii game, dancing Wii game, because that.
Nice.
I think I remember that.
Yeah,
I think
it was quite.
I think my cousins might have had it. Yeah. I was never good at it.
Yeah, I also like listened. When I was younger, me and my brother used to listen to my mum's iPod, so it's all of her music. I actually found it yesterday. Me and my mum were going through everything, like reminding ourselves of like everything that we grew up on. It was quite fun. It's quite nice.
What kind of bands?
It was like Jamiroquai and just some. I can't remember really. They're just some. Like, I can't remember the names. That's why we were going through them, because there were just some really odd ones.
Yeah, no, that's cool though.
Yeah.
Jamiroquai, that's cool. I think the only thing on my mum's iPod that I remember was like ABBA and like Queen.
we never listened to ABBA. We're not that big of a fan of ABBA.
No.
But I went
Fair
to
enough.
It's like guilty pleasure music, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had something. Hang on.
It's on the tip of his brain.
Yeah, it's like there. I'm just starting to produce. Currently, we've got my band. We're actually lined up to do an EP and a couple of singles. It just needs to all get recorded. And I guess sort of as someone who's beginning with that kind of producing, like how do you sort of go about producing, not just in terms of songwriting, but in terms of how a song goes from being like an acoustic guitar part to being a sort of fully fledged song?
Yeah, I kind of just usually I will grab I'd grab the electric guitar after I place down the acoustic guitar, and I'll like find some plugin that makes the guitar sound cool that I think would work at some point. Or I usually add like electric keyboard first and just mess around with that. But with producing, I just look up videos, tons of videos, or just like even they come up on my TikTok and find some really cool like small tricks that I've used recently. Just like I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'll use that, and then just have to build from videos. There's no way that I could have figured everything out like without videos. No. It's just so complicated. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't something I particularly fancied doing myself, but because of the pandemic, I've kind of had to. I have to do it now because we have no access to do it with anyone else.
I guess that's one advantage that you do have, Francis, because you've been kind of producing your own music for quite a while, that you kind of have that experience, whereas a lot of people who are just used to going to an engineer.
It's definitely useful because I can just carry on doing what I was doing anyway, because that's how I learned about it.
Yeah, you don't rely on a full band as well to kind of meet up with, which is good.
It'd be nice to get that in the end, because I did have a lot of fun performing with the house band at my college, at my uni. So yeah.
I mean, have you ever thought of like forming a band around your music, or is it just sort of this is like a solo project you're doing and you're sort of acquiring the help of others?
Yeah, I'd love to have a band. Like, it's definitely something which I really want to get sometime soon. I just don't know how to find people and all that kind of stuff. It's just something I hope just happens, like just randomly come across someone who's like, yeah, that's something I'd like to do, you know.
Yeah, sort of like a naturally occurring,
Yeah,
you know, bump into another guitarist, that sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever see yourself, you know, collaborating with someone else, or do you think it would be kind of a you making your music and then playing your songs? Or
I feel like yes, I'd also like just to remain like more solo, I guess. I feel but also I'd love to collaborate with other people as well at the same time, just like small side projects or something, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's fair.
Do you have a dream sort of artist collab that you'd love to do? You know, if you could.
Yeah. Oh, Clara is one that I'd love to love to do, definitely.
Nice. I was going to talk a little bit about kind of, you know, social media. Do you think nowadays that plays quite a big part in someone's music career?
Yeah, I think it really does. Like, you've got to have some kind of social media presence. Like, some people can do it without it if they've got people they know who can help with it, but I think you really need to, because you need to interact with people, you need to make connections and all this sort of stuff. It really does help, because it's an easy way to promote as well. You just keep plugging yourself on your socials. But yeah.
And how do you find that process of kind of promoting yourself? Does it feel weird, or do you get used to it?
It was quite weird at the start, but now I've just kind of gotten over that, and I'm just like, yeah, look, I've got something coming out, and just go and do it, you know, all this kind of stuff. But it's quite hard, because I just forget sometimes to do it, and so it gets to the point where it's already out and I've forgotten to say that something's coming out or whatever. And it's just constant, got to remember to plug myself or do things, and it's quite a lot to do.
And how do you keep on top of that? Do you have a schedule for doing that, or is it kind of just spur of the moment?
It's just spur of the moment, definitely. When I remember to do something, or if I'm in the mood and like, oh, maybe I should film like some kind of music video in my room or something, and I'll do it then. But then maybe never release it because I forget that I've done it.
I
feel that's just my work ethic.
Producing content for social media can be like half the job, you know. You spend more time doing that than less of the music, which is surreal.
Definitely.
Is there a way that you, because I'm currently writing a lot, but it's after quite a sort of creative drought. I spent about 3 months without actually doing any music. Is there a way you sort of combat like a creative drought, or do you just sort of ride it through and to the end? Or?
I mean, when I'm in one, it really stresses me out, because I'm like, I should be doing something, I should be writing, and like I sit my guitar and I'm playing chords, which I'm just like, don't like this, I don't like anything that I'm doing. And but usually it just comes to me sometimes. It's usually late at night or something, and I'm just like messing around, and then usually I have to tune my guitar a different way, so I'm just like playing something I have no idea what I'm playing, to like find something new, and then it will come from that. But I usually forget to do it, so it goes on for weeks where I'm just like, I'm stuck in this hole. I don't know what to do.
Because that's sort of what I was having a couple sort of about 3 months or so. Back in like October, I wasn't doing anything. And you sit there and you're like, why am I not working?
It doesn't help being stuck inside as well. I get a lot of inspiration from being outside and doing things. So it's like being inside, I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I have nothing to write about anyway. So
Speaking of, I mean, how do you think this is kind of this pandemic and this lockdown and stuff? How do you think it's going to really affect musicians?
Well, it's not going well at the moment. I'm not really getting any support at all, and it's quite heartbreaking, because I see all these venues that are like close to shutting down because they're just not getting any money to like continue. And I just hope that sometime soon it can all happen again, because I think it is one of the biggest parts of like life is music, and it's just like really hard to exist without it, I guess, because it's just nice to listen, or just nice to go out on evenings and go to a gig and do stuff. Yeah.
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 That resonates because we definitely miss that. I think all of us do as musicians, live events, and even just seeing people is difficult. What we should end on just by saying, is there anything that you'd like to shout out quickly while you're here?
Or promote or.
Well, obviously I've got my new single coming out on February the 26th. I mean, I've got some small artists that are my friends who I'd like to say.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Pink Pirate, she's a really good artist, and then also someone called Tasha Bloom, who I've met recently, and she's a great artist as well. But yeah, those
Oh, awesome! All right, yeah. Well, we if you want to maybe send us their links or something, or we can find them,
sure,
we'll put them in the description.
That's what all this is sort of about. Is giving small artists a platform. And a place to go.
Promotion.
Yeah, Oscar, do you want to do the outro?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah.
I've discovered I cannot talk today.
It's all right, Jack. It's okay. It happens. Right, well, that is the end of the Homegrown Music Podcast episode 10. Thank you for watching. And thank you, Frances, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It's been really nice to get to know you.
It's been fun.
Awesome. All right. Bye.
Right, see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.